everyone. Welcome to Nutritional Intervention with Humana. I'm Julie Marie from ProtectiveDiet.com, and today I'm teaching you Chinese take-in. It's like a spin-off of basically ordering out from a Chinese takeout, but we're going to learn how to make this recipe at home without the use of any oil. So we're greatly reducing our saturated fat intake, because even in vegetable oil and olive oil, it contains saturated fat. So we're going to eliminate that and lower, is this camera lined up okay? Yeah. Okay. So we're going to help to lower our cholesterol. I want to talk a little bit about, I'm just turning my burner on here. I'm going to start with the gravy. Typically when I make this recipe at home, I start steaming my veggies. I brown my onions and my garlic, and I then steam my vegetables, but because we're working with one burner today, I'm going to make the gravy, set it aside, steam my vegetables, and then top it. I've started my rice in my Secura pressure cooker. You could use a rice cooker or a stove top, and I've included a recipe for cooking brown rice because a lot of people are confused about cooking brown rice. They might be buying those boil-in bag rice bags, and it's just such a waste of all that plastic and expense. Rice is a main staple on a protective diet and of a whole foods plant-based diet. So I encourage you to incorporate more brown rice into your diet, and the recipe that I included is very simple. If you're cooking brown rice on the stovetop, I recommend that you use 2 cups water to 1 cup rice. Now if you want to cook 2 cups of rice, increase it to 4 cups of water. You're going to use a pan with a tight fitting lid, and when you put your brown rice in there in the water, you're going to bring that up to a boil. And as soon as it comes to a boil, I want you to turn it down to a simmer, the lowest heat setting on your burner, and cover it. Let it simmer for 30 minutes, and after 30 minutes, turn it off. If you have an electric stove, you might want to move it off the burner. And let it sit for another 10 to 15 minutes. And during that time, it's going to soften the rice to make up for the difference of using brown rice versus white rice. Because white rice takes a little less time than brown rice. And sometimes when we cook brown rice on the stovetop on low setting for a full 40 minutes, it will burn on the bottom. So this eliminates any burnt rice or any issue with having to drain water off of rice. Sometimes people run into that challenge. I know rice, to some of you, you're great cooks. It seems like an unusual thing for me to explain how to cook, but it can be intimidating to a new cook. So what we're doing here is we're just going to start with the gravy for our stir fry. I'm going to use about 1.5 cups of, you could go with 2 cups, 1.5 to 2 cups of broth. You're going to end up using a full box of this vegetable broth for this recipe, or if you make your own vegetable broth, you just use 4 cups total. So we're going to heat this up, turn it on high, and I'm going to add my garlic. I like to use a garlic press. It just makes this whole process a lot faster. And I don't have to handle the garlic. I can take it out with my knife. My fingers don't smell like garlic. They usually do smell like garlic because somehow, one way or another, I end up touching the garlic. I cook a lot. I run a test kitchen. I create a new recipe, a new oil-free, nut-free, sugar-free, whole food, plant-based recipe every week for my students that subscribe online. So I'm in the kitchen at least 30 hours a week creating new recipes. These are really big cloves of garlic. I hope you guys love garlic. So I started doing this because I had heart disease in my 20s, and I was very obese, and amongst other things, I had a lot of other physical problems as well from my diet and my lifestyle. So I changed it, and I started eating a healthy diet, a vegan diet, a plant-based diet, and then I removed all the oils out of my diet, the nuts out of my diet, and in doing that, my health just emerged. The weight fell off. I didn't have to exercise to maintain my weight. I felt amazing. So I encourage you to look at your diet and if you're suffering with high cholesterol, it's completely reversible with a nutritional intervention by removing foods that contain cholesterol and saturated fat, including oils. Oils contain saturated fat, such as olive oil. It has 13% fat. Nuts contain saturated fat. So if you're having a challenge getting those cholesterol numbers down, your total cholesterol score, I want it under 150. And if we get it there, you're heart attack proof. The words of Dr. Esselstyn, he's a wonderful doctor that specializes in the reversal of heart disease. He helped Bill Clinton. You might have heard of Dr. Esselstyn from Bill Clinton's heart disease reversal. So I'm just peeling my ginger. I'm showing you how to do it with a spoon. You can use a knife, but if you use a spoon, you can see you lose a lot less of the ginger, a lot less is wasted. You can also grate it with the skin on. It's up to you. If you haven't worked with ginger before, fresh ginger, I highly recommend it. It's a totally different flavor than powdered dried ginger. This has a little bite to it. It's very aromatic, floral almost in fragrance. And when I use this, I put it in the freezer. After I'm done, I'll use a couple tablespoons. I'm just going to grate it. This is a microplane grater. It's just a fine grater. I'm going to grate a couple tablespoons into this gravy. This is what's going to give it a nice Asian flavor, the garlic and the ginger together. After I'm done with this, I'm obviously not going to use this whole root, just a couple tablespoons. I'm going to pop this into a Ziploc bag or plastic wrap and put it in my freezer. Label it ginger. And you can grate frozen ginger right into your stir fries. It'll always be handy there for you. If you leave this in your refrigerator or out on your countertop, it's going to shrivel up and dry up within a week. So you want to freeze it. How's it smelling? Good. Does anyone have any questions so far? No? Quiet group today.
Does anyone in this group experience any heart disease? Yeah? Heart disease?
High cholesterol?
Not cholesterol,
Blood
just
pressure? Blood pressure. Yeah, eating a low-fat, whole foods, plant-based diet will reverse high blood pressure in a very short amount of time. So it's something to definitely consider. After you taste this recipe today, you'll see why it's not such a challenge to do. So we're also going to add 3 tablespoons of tamari.
When the ginger, when you freeze it, after use, you leave on the room temperature. You're waiting for room
No,
temperature
grate
just
it
to use
frozen. It actually, it's a lot
It's not so
easier.
hard.
Yeah. No, it's easier to grate when it's frozen. When I buy this from the grocery store, the first day I get it home, I put it in the freezer. I peel it, and then I put it in the freezer. I
When you
prefer it
defrost
frozen.
more water.
No,
When you defrost it, I want that.
yeah, so you want to use it frozen. So when you grate it when it's frozen, it shreds beautifully. Give it a try, you'll love it. And then you'll always have it on hand. When I see it's really fresh at my market, I buy a lot of it. Because sometimes it doesn't look so great. You want to look for ginger that doesn't look shriveled up and dried.
When you buy a lot, just everything put in the refrigerator.
Yeah, put it right into the freezer. Peel it and put it in the freezer. So I'm using 3 tablespoons of tamari. This is going to give the stir fry a nice salty taste. And it's like a soy sauce, but it's better for you than typical soy sauce. This doesn't contain any MSG or food additives. And then you can also add some crushed red pepper to this. When I make this dish, I add about a teaspoon. I like it spicy. Today you could add a 1/4 teaspoon if you want to just start introducing spice into your diet. Instead of adding that, because I know some people are sensitive to heat, I made a recipe that you can find on protectivediet.com. It's called Healthy Hottie Sauce, and it's my version of like sriracha or rooster sauce that you buy in the jar, but it's free of food additives and sugar. And it's made with these arbol chilies. This is a great way to get to have hot sauce around. It's a vinegar-based hot sauce, so it'll stay well in your refrigerator. And this recipe, I'm sorry I didn't include the printout. I didn't think about bringing this until this morning. But I'll let you try it. If you do put this hot sauce on your sample, go easy with it. It's hot. I'm warning you. I don't want anyone choking. It's very, very spicy. A little bit goes a long way. And these chilies you can find in the Mexican section of your grocery store or Indian markets. This one's called Arbol chili, and they're great. I add them to salsas. I use them for all different things. We used them in the nacho cheese sauce in the last cooking demonstration. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to thicken this gravy. And we're going to add a little bit of our vegetable broth to cornstarch. Are you all familiar with cornstarch? Yeah? Okay. So we're making what I call a slurry. This is just cornstarch. You could add water or broth. I use this in a lot of my gravies and my sauces. Cornstarch gives recipes or gravies a really nice shine. So that shine will take the place of the oil because we're not using any oil. And it's going to thicken this gravy beautifully. So we want the gravy to be boiling, and we just whisk this in. And you'll see, it will thicken up really fast and get really shiny. Can they see that up there?
It's right here.
Our little screen. I'm going to add a little bit more broth to this. Smells amazing. Just really simple ingredients. We have garlic, ginger, tamari, vegetable broth, and if you want to add the chilies to that, you can. These are all very inexpensive ingredients. They're all ingredients you can find at your local grocery store, and this makes an excellent sauce to put on top of any kind of steamed vegetables that you want. I'm going to show you how to brown the vegetables without oil today, but if you want to cut corners, you could just pour this over steamed broccoli, frozen broccoli. Just heat it up, put this gravy over it and some brown rice, and you have a full meal. This is taking a little bit longer to cook off the cornstarch because we're on such a little burner, but normally at home we would be done. The gravy will darken in color, and you want to cook this for a couple minutes while it boils, but it's not quite boiling yet. So that you cook off the flavor of the cornstarch. If you just put that in there, it thickened up and stopped cooking it, it might have a flavor of cornstarch if you don't cook it for like 2 minutes. There's recipes right up there if you want to grab them. Right? Oh my God. Let that continue to heat a little bit more while I chop up my veggies. Okay. So now we're going to move to the veggie component of this dish. And you could use literally any vegetables that you have on hand. The first two that are important that you start with would be onions and mushrooms. If you don't like mushrooms, just skip them, it's fine. But the mushrooms are going to add a lot of flavor to this dish when we do the browning. So I'm going to start off by chopping my onion. Now this is a stir fry that you would typically eat with chopsticks. So you don't want to cut up your onions really tiny. You want them in pieces that you can pick them up and eat them with chopsticks. Of course you can use a fork, but that's how I want you to think about making a stir fry. Is you want the pieces large enough that you could pick them up with chopsticks. Gravy looks great. I'm just going to set this aside now. And I'm using a stainless steel pan. Are we lined up okay there? I'm using a stainless steel pan, and I'm going to brown these onions and mushrooms without any oil. You can put them in the pan when it's cold. You don't have to heat it up ahead of time or anything. With oil, we have to do it in that fashion, but because we're not using oil, we can just put them in, turn the pan on. Our mushrooms, you can chop them as big or as small as you want. I like slices in my stir fry. You wouldn't really want to dice them up because, like I said, you want to be able to pick them up with chopsticks. So we always start off with the mushrooms and the onions. We're going to get those to brown nicely. And then we're going to add all of our other veggies in with some broth and let those steam until they're tender. This is a really simple recipe to put together. And it looks very impressive because of all the colors. But it's quite simple. Once we get the heat going here. So I want to lay these down in the pan so everybody touches the surface and can get brown. The browning of the onions and the mushrooms is what's going to give your dish all the flavor. It's not the oil. A lot of times people think that it's the oil that adds the flavor. But if you take a tablespoon of olive oil, I don't recommend eating it, but taste it. It really has no flavor, especially vegetable oil. It's just pure fat. There are no vitamins or nutrients inside olive oil, corn oil, vegetable oil. Where we've been told many times, you'll see on the news, like olive oil is heart healthy. It helps to reduce heart disease. But that's not exactly the case. It's 100% fat, 13% saturated fat. Olive oil is heart healthier than if we use butter, but it's still a negative in the body. It's still, there's a saying that a doctor that I've learned under, Dr. McDougall, says the fat we eat is the fat we wear. So if we eliminate those empty fat calories out of our diet, we are going to naturally reduce our body fat. And reducing our body fat will be in a greater health position. We'll also be lowering our cholesterol with the removal of those oils. Pan's taking a while. All right, we'll just let that do its thing. I'm going to chop up my veggies. In this recipe, I'm enlarging it a little bit to feed all of you today, but I think I have 2 stalks of celery on there. I'm going to add more than that. And when you chop your celery, typically in an Asian restaurant, if you want to go with the typical Asian style, the way they cut things, you want to cut it on an angle. That's how they do it. I like my veggies in chunks, like I said, so you can pick them up with chopsticks. It just makes it prettier, and then they'll all cook at the same uniform time. If you're in a hurry and you want it to cook really fast, cut your veggies smaller. And then we have bell peppers. These are just cut around the top. This is how I like to cut them. It's fast this way. So you're cutting out all the seeds. any color bell peppers that you like. I always buy, I'm always looking to save money every week at the grocery store. So I buy what's on sale. If I go to the store and green peppers are $1.99 a pound, but the red bell peppers are 99 cents a pound, I buy red bell peppers. Don't buy them based on what the recipe requests. Like this recipe says 2 bell peppers. It might say specifically red or yellow. Don't worry about the color. Pick by what's the freshest vegetable and what's the best price. Usually the best priced one is the freshest because it's abundant. You want to save money in the process. Jerry and I, we eat this way every day at every meal, and we spend about $70 between 2 of us, and we eat a lot. We like to eat, and I'm always cooking. So $70 a week for 2 adults is a really good, it's a very low budget for groceries, but we don't ever go without beautiful fresh produce. I know a lot of people think that eating a plant-based diet is very expensive, that vegetables are so expensive, but the most expensive ingredients in the grocery stores are the processed packaged ingredients. You're paying for the marketing, you're paying for the packaging, the meats, the cheeses, the olive oil. When we take that out of our diet, our grocery bill comes way down. And we can afford to buy beautiful bell peppers. And then after doing this for some period of time, I started to realize how much money I was saving compared to how I ate before, and then I was able to incorporate more organics into my diet. I focus on my leafy greens always being organic. There's certain vegetables I always choose organic. I always choose my celery organic, and the reason for this is there's certain vegetables that are on what they call a dirty dozen list. It's a list of 12 vegetables currently that are very heavily sprayed with pesticides. And celery happens to be one of them, and bell peppers. But if you're just getting started, you don't need to worry about the organics. Studies have shown that if you're eating a plant-based diet, eating the vegetable outweighs, the antioxidant power outweighs the negative of the pesticide on the vegetable. So you don't have to get all worried about buying all organics, just buy vegetables and fruit and whole grains, and your body's going to benefit from it. It doesn't have to be all or nothing. Oh, I left some of these. I don't know who I was leaving those there for. So who likes to cook that's in the room? Who cooks now for their family or for themselves? Everybody? Do you cook? Yes? Yes. I know you make your own yogurt. We talked about that last time. Jerry and I are big on making the soy yogurt. Are you a cook too? Yeah?
Sometimes.
You do? Yeah, we love it. We've been getting into making Greek yogurt, and I just came up with a recipe to make cheese from soy yogurt. And it's an oil-free cheese, and it turned out beautifully. You can use it to top, it melts beautiful. It's a newer recipe. Yeah, my pan is not heating up very quickly. It smells good. Might take a couple hours. Sorry. It's okay. It's just because I have such a big pan. It just takes a while. We just have to be patient.
You want to get the convection?
No, I think
No, because then I'd have to switch to that pan.
next is not test.
It won't heat with this one. It's okay. Does anyone have any questions?
So primarily what you're trying to tell us is to eliminate completely the oil, right?
Yes.
And just have all kinds of vegetables.
Yes.
Okay, I got you.
Yes. If we eliminate the oils, the empty fats out of our diet, we are actually, well, we're doing just that. We're eliminating empty fat calories. But studies have shown now that the oils, the saturated fat that's in the oils, breaks down the foundation of our immune system. So I don't eat any oil, ever. If I go out to eat at a restaurant, I order specifically no oil. I haven't had oil in years, and when I did have oil in my diet and nuts, I don't eat nuts anymore either because of the saturated fat content. When I had those in my diet, I was almost 100 pounds heavier than I am. And I was still eating a healthy vegan diet. I was eating a plant-based diet with oil and nuts, and I was very overweight. And I was very unhealthy. And everyone always said, oh, you eat so healthy, you know. And I would work out all the time and exercise, and I couldn't keep up with the body fat. And it all came down to my salad dressings. I was putting a lot of heavy oiled salad dressings. No, not heavy. Typically what people would think would be light, like oil and vinegar dressings. And now, in place of the oil, I thicken my dressings with chia seeds. I have a lot of recipes on protectivediet.com you can check out. I thicken dressings with white beans to make them thick. Tofu as a base for ranch dressings. We use a lot of different unusual ingredients to thicken our dressings that are nutrient dense. So we're actually adding beneficial foods into our dressings rather than just putting empty fat calories. Because if you look at your bottle of olive oil, there is no nutrients in that oil. There's no vitamins, there's nothing in there. And we're just pouring fat on our beautiful vegetables. It doesn't make any sense, but that's what we've grown accustomed to doing. And the first, I would say, 2.5 weeks of eating oil-free, you're gonna be missing something. You're gonna be like, the food, I need that fat feel on my tongue. Your taste buds, we have receptors in our taste buds that search for the fats. And that's why you're so attracted. Before class, we were talking about peanut butter.
Mm-hmm.
It was you that was talking about the peanut butter?
Yeah.
And when you're not eating the peanut butter anymore, you're going to crave those fats for about 2.5 weeks. And then after eating totally free of the oils and the peanut butter, you will not be searching for them anymore. And out of nowhere, your foods will start to taste creamy. They'll start to taste like there's fat in them. Jerry and I have been eating this way for years, and we sometimes will be like, are you sure there's no oil in there? I'm like, yes, I made it. There's no oil in the house. And it's just your taste buds start to, I call it reprogramming. They start to not search for that fat, and you stop having the cravings for the fats. But it takes about 2.5 weeks to get through that period. And once you get through it, your salad dressings are wonderful. So what we're waiting for now is the moisture to cook off the mushrooms. If you were cooking this at home on your own stove, it would be finished. We'd be done with this recipe, but because I'm on this little burner, it's taking a lot longer. So I apologize. We're gonna have to get a more powerful one for next time.
All right.
So any other questions that I can answer? No? Does everyone know why they tell us to eat a high fiber diet to reduce cholesterol? No? You just do it? You're just like, okay, I'll eat fiber. Well, I want to explain to you a little bit about how that works so that you know, and then maybe it will make you add the fiber because you know what it's actually doing in your body. So typically the average person, the average man, when he eats a meal, it takes 5 days to eliminate that meal out of his system. A woman, it takes 4 days. This is on a standard American diet, eating your typical, burgers and fries or chicken dinners or chicken and vegetables, that kind of thing. So there's this very slow digestive system happening. And we're eating a lot, we're taking in a lot of cholesterol in our diet. I want to point out that chicken, fish, and beef have almost the same amount of cholesterol in them. So if you're eating fish or chicken in place of beef, thinking that that's going to help lower your cholesterol, that's why you're still on statin medication, or that's why you still have this elevated cholesterol score. So I want you to eliminate the chicken, the fish, and the beef so that you're eliminating all the cholesterol out of your diet.
Pork is better?
Pork has just as much. So cholesterol is found in the muscle mass it's found in the muscle. So when we eat chicken, we're actually eating the muscle of the chicken. When we eat pork, we're eating the muscle of the pig. So the cholesterol level is pretty similar no matter what animal that muscle comes from. So if we eliminate that completely, we're eliminating the dietary cholesterol. We're going to see a major decrease in our total cholesterol score, or our LDL, our bad or lousy cholesterol, which is the goal. Now, saturated fat also elevates our cholesterol score. So that's why a lot of times they put you on, when you have elevated cholesterol, they put you on a low-fat diet of chicken or pork or fish in place of beef, because it's a lower saturated fat content. So technically that would be better. But what I'm suggesting is that we do a total nutritional intervention and we don't mess around. If you have high cholesterol, why are you eating a little bit of cholesterol? Let's eliminate it completely, take care of the problem, get that number down below 150, because that 150 marker, technically heart attacks don't happen if your total cholesterol score is under 150. So you've made yourself totally heart attack proof by eliminating all of the dietary contributors to that heightened cholesterol. So that's what I'm suggesting to do. What I want to tell you about why they tell you to eat more fiber is because if you are taking in dietary cholesterol, this is like a Band-Aid approach. Raise your fiber in your diet, lower your cholesterol. Well, you're still taking in cholesterol. Let's say you ate chicken or beef or whatever choice of animal product with high cholesterol, and that's working its way through your digestive system. Well, when it gets into your intestines, it actually reabsorbs some of the cholesterol. So you took in the cholesterol initially into your system, eating it, and then it's sitting in your digestive system for 4 to 5 days because you're eating such a low fiber diet of vegetables and chicken, no bulk of fiber. Like, you might be eating some vegetables, but not to the extent that I'm showing you to eat today. So it's sitting in your digestive system, and your body then picks and chooses and reabsorbs some of the cholesterol that should have been eliminated out of your body if you were eating a high fiber diet. So if we increase the fiber in our diet, we will actually, the meal that we eat today will be eliminated this time tomorrow. So it will leave our body within a 24-hour period, 48 hours at the most. Some people are 24 hours, they're eliminated. Now this is kind of like maybe an off subject to talk about while I'm cooking, but this is our bodies and this is health. We should know how our system's working. So if we increase the fiber in our diet, we're going to eliminate out of our body our meals at a faster rate, and we're not going to have the opportunity to reabsorb cholesterol. That is why they're suggesting you eat a high fiber diet to reduce your cholesterol. But you're still absorbing the cholesterol initially when you eat it. So I'm suggesting don't eat any cholesterol at all, and you won't even have to worry about this. Plus, you'll be eating such a high fiber diet that you will still be eliminating within that 24 to 48 hour period, which is optimal for health. So I want to talk to you about what they're mentioning. Oats are high in fiber. They're great for us. They help to lower our cholesterol because they eliminate the cholesterol that we take in, dietary cholesterol. They make it move out faster so we don't absorb as much. The potato actually has more fiber in it than oatmeal, and a lot of people are surprised by this. And I bake potatoes all the time in the morning and eat them for breakfast. It's easier for me. I bake them the night before, or when I'm doing something else. I just cut them in half down the middle, and I put them flat on parchment paper, and I bake them for, say 400 degrees for about 35 minutes, and they get nice and golden brown on that flat cut side. Then I put these in the refrigerator, and I cook about 10 of these, and then we have breakfast for the next few days. I can take it to go. It's better than a power bar, energy bar. It's free of sugar. It's free of food additives. It's clean, good energy food, high in fiber. Eat the skin. Wash it with a little vegetable brush. So I highly recommend increasing the potatoes in your diet. Sweet potatoes are great, any kind of potatoes you want, along with your veggies. The amount of fiber in the brown rice is about equal to the amount of fiber in the oatmeal. So all of these whole grains are just as equal. No, I need it to dry out. It's getting there. The mushrooms are so moist that this is what we're waiting for, is the mushrooms to release all of their liquid.
Isn't potatoes really high in cholesterol? I mean, high in calories? I mean,
No,
we're told not to stay away from French fries. And,
Yeah,
you know.
well, they're fried in oil. So if we're baking our potatoes, which you can cut these into French fries or into circles and lay them. Parchment paper is the key with baking potatoes into fries. Maybe Jerry can show. Oh, you have that up there. I was gonna. No internet. Okay. On the website, there's pictures of all different types of baked style fries from oven fries, I call them. They're just cut into French fry shapes. You can buy a French fry cutter for about $7 on Amazon and cut your own fries, bake them on parchment paper, and they get nice and crispy. I've got all kinds of sugar-free ketchups and everything you can make to dip them in.
Sweet
So-
potato, okay.
Sweet potato is fabulous. Actually, a sweet potato has a slower absorption than the regular potato. So if you are challenged with blood sugar issues like type 2 diabetes,
Right.
I would recommend the sweet potato over the white potato. Or type 1 diabetes. It's just, it has less of a sugar rise. But the potato, it's gotten a bad rap because of all the toppings that we put on it. The potato itself is a perfect food. It's we want to eat a starch-based diet. We want to eat grains, whole wheat pasta. That's perfectly acceptable in the diet. You can eat a half a pound of whole wheat pasta as a man as a meal every day at every meal, and you're not going to exceed your caloric requirements. And you're eating a very high fiber food as long as you're not topping it with oil or fats or cheese. So I teach how to make creamy sauces, like an Alfredo sauce that doesn't have cheese or butter, but it tastes like it. So that's my specialty is remaking comfort food favorites so that they fit into this plan and you reach your goals of lowering your cholesterol, your blood pressure, your body fat. Justina, can I point you out? She's one of my students. She's been doing a protective diet for how long now?
Well, 4 months.
4 months. And how are you finding it?
Oh, I love protective diet.
She loves it. She loves the food.
Yes, I love
And
the
she's
food.
and you've had some health changes, right?
Yes, I lost 20 pounds.
20 pounds.
That's about it.
That's great. Yeah, and it happens fast. It happens on average about 10 pounds a month of weight loss. Some people more than others. I know you experienced a lot in the
Yeah.
beginning. It was pretty dramatic. So
Excuse me, did you put vegetables little bit?
no, I didn't add anything. It's going very slowly right now because
Juice
of the
coming out.
heat. That's one thing. There's a lot of recipes out there for oil-free cooking, and they add, they call it water sauteing, or they saute with vegetable broth. Don't do it. Don't add any liquid because you can see all this liquid coming out from the mushrooms.
With low heat, not high heat.
You want to put it on high heat.
Still juice
Yes.
doesn't go on.
Right, it won't burn. Maybe in an hour from now. This is taking so long because of the heat. I wish I had a higher heat.
What kind of burner are you using?
It's just a little electric burner. Yeah. We actually want it to brown. We want it to stick to the pan. And then we're going to add the vegetable broth to get that to release from the bottom of the pan. And that's what adds all the flavor to the dish. I apologize, this is not, it's not happening. But I'm going to let it sit here. I don't know what to
About
do.
those induction burners and stuff.
You know what I could do is take all that rice out of there, but I don't know what I would put it in and brown it in that.
Picture.
Oh, you know what? You can put it in here. I don't know if it'll fit though. Go in there and see if she has a big bowl, like her biggest bowl. I'm sorry. Jerry, ask her for the bowl. Kristen will direct you. All right, so does anyone attend Veggie Fest over the summer? You're gonna go?
Yes.
Great. There's a vegetarian festival August 9th and 10th that's in Naperville. It's on the Center for Spirituality's grounds. And it's a really neat 2-day festival. I'll do 2 cooking demos there for that. Saturday my demo's at 12:30 and Sunday at 2:30. That should be a lot of fun. I think Emily might be getting a booth there for Humana participating. I'm not sure yet. Oh, perfect. Great. All right, so I'm going to show you how to brown with my pressure cooker because this is taking too long. So we'll switch over to this. Move that lid.
Sure can.
Do this. Thank you, Jerry.
Can you rinse that out? Real quick.
Not really good, but
I didn't see.
thank you. All right. My pressure cooker is going to save the day. So on my pressure cooker, if you're following at home and you're kind of confused why I stopped cooking this, the little burner that I was working with, is not heating up enough to get these onions and mushrooms to brown like your stovetop at home would. So I'm just going to switch over to my Secura pressure cooker and I'm going to put it on the brown setting. And Jerry went to go wash out my rice pot so that I can cook in there and get a nice brown color to my mushrooms and my onions. This is key in the recipe. That's why I'm going through these efforts, because this is what's going to add so much flavor. That brown gravy with all of that ginger and garlic in it is going to add a lot of flavor, but the browning is very important. If we just boil mushrooms and onions like you typically see in oil-free cooking, you're not going to have any flavor to your dish. The water sauteing technique, I started out cooking that way because that's what I learned, and I'm like, this is not giving the flavor that I grew up with browned onions and mushrooms. It was missing, and I love, try it outside. Thank you, Jerry. I love food, and I love to cook, and I don't think we should be sacrificing flavor because we're eliminating oil out of our diet. That's ridiculous. So I just need to make sure this is on.
Yeah, this one.
Okay. So I'm just going to transfer over. And it's in a dry stainless steel pan. Hopefully they can see that on there okay.
Yeah, we'll see. There's a bit of a delay for the
okay.
video feed.
But it's working out okay, Jerry?
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay. Thanks. Just gonna move that out of my way. Okay, now we'll just wait for this to heat up, and this happens quick. So, what else can we talk about? What other questions can I answer for you guys?
Yeah, me and Samir are talking about that's. I get the course near tamari. Is that the tamari? The soy sauce?
Tamari? Yeah, it's like soy sauce. It's made from soybeans.
Okay.
It has a salty flavor
Mhm.
and it is free of food additives.
Okay.
So soy sauce or Bragg's liquid aminos, some people use that thinking that's healthy. Those contain food additives like MSG. So this one is a good product to use. You can buy it in all different forms. You can buy it gluten-free, you can buy it organic or not. I recommend the organic one. I think it's maybe 50 cents to $1 more a bottle. But you can buy it low sodium or regular. When I use it regular, I just use less. I think the low sodium one is just watered down a little more. They add less salt in the processing. But you can see this is boiling up now, and in doing that, it's going to release all the water. Thank you so much, Sherry.
Sure.
I forgot we have this great pressure cooker to keep things up and brown things in. Thank goodness, my pressure cooker saved the day, saved the recipe. So have you guys been enjoying your summer? Yeah?
Maybe summer is always
It's cold.
cold.
It's been cold? Yeah.
Rainy.
Yeah. It was hot and then it got cold,
Yeah.
rain. So far, I think it's been a nice summer. Everything's so green now.
Yeah.
Is anyone growing a garden? Yes. What are you guys growing?
We have strawberries. We just had our first strawberry today.
You did. The birds didn't eat them?
Huh?
The birds didn't
We
eat
had
them?
one that they did. It was this nice big one that was just waiting for us. One day
Every
we come back,
year-
it's gone. I'm
Every
like,
year I would plant strawberries when I was a kid. My mom would let me buy like 2 plants. We'd plant them. And the birds would get to them before I did, always. But that's great. They're coming in. Yeah, I grow a lot of herbs. This year I'm growing, I just have a little townhouse, so I have pots. But I'm growing some kale. I have cucumber plants that are going to grow up my fence. And I have a beautiful basil plant. I bought a little organic basil plant at Meijer's. I think it was $1.99. And I planted it, and it's gorgeous. I'm going to have oil-free pesto. That's a recipe on protectivediet.com you can check out. And what else do I have growing? Rosemary and oregano and mint and all the spices. 'Cause they're so nice and convenient. Chives. I've had the same chives in a pot that have grown back since I think 1995. They just keep coming back in this little pot. It's great. So yeah, I wish I had a big garden. I grew up with a big garden. Next month they're going to have the farmer's market here. Hopefully that'll be nice. Do you guys go to a farmer's market by you? We don't have really good ones by us. The farmer's market by our house, they sell I think more purses than they do vegetables. There's like a lot of, they're like selling non-garden items. I don't know what's going on with that, but.
How many of you guys are going traveling this summer? Going visiting anywhere else?
No one's traveling?
We're going to California.
California, that's where we want to move. Where in California are you going to?
Santa Barbara?
Oh, beautiful. Do you have family there, or you're just going
My
to?
son is there.
Oh, nice. Smart son to move there. Beautiful place. How long will you stay?
For a month.
A
July,
month?
entire July.
Oh, how nice. That's great. Okay, so
One great thing about the protective diet is you can really do it anywhere at all. Julie and I travel quite a bit, and we eat this way all the time. It's very easy to do, especially in California. We went there for our
yeah, in
honeymoon.
California the markets
Super
are
simple.
great. Yeah.
So I guess I should be one to talk. All I have to do is sit back and accept the food that she gives me. But it is really easy, isn't it, Julie?
Yeah, we were in California in May, and we went for a week. Now, I just want to point this out. See how it's getting brown at the bottom of the pan? Can they see that? I want it to do that. That's good. That's not burning. Just move it around a little bit, and it'll come up. With the pressure cooker, there's hot spots, so I just turn my pan. If it starts to get too brown and you're cooking on your stovetop, just take the pan out. Just take it off the stove if you have an electric stove. If you have a gas stove, obviously turn it down. But this is the flavor that's going to be incorporated into my dish. But you see how it just scrapes off easily? It's scraping off easily because of the moisture that's coming out of the mushrooms and the onions. But this is what's going to add the flavor to the dish. I know I sound like a broken record. I say that all the time. But that's what'll do it. And when it gets nice and golden, that's when we're going to add the rest of our broth. You could add, if you were making another dish, something else, you could add water. You could add wine if you like to cook with wine. That is what you'd call deglazing the pan. So you're putting that liquid into the pan when it's hot, and it's going to cause all those browning bits to get incorporated into the dish. And if you're nervous that it's going to burn, turn it on low, and it just takes longer to do. But you can see how quickly that happened in a hot pan. And whenever I start any soups, always brown your onions. And if you're not using mushrooms, I mean, mushrooms add a lot of flavor, but at least brown those onions. If you're adding garlic to the dish, I really like to add that without browning it, because sometimes it gets a bitter taste. So see the browning on the bottom of the pan? I'm going to stop it now with the liquid, because it's gone far enough. And now I want you to, hopefully you can see, all of this is coming up. See my bottom of my pan? Can you guys see in the camera? There's no more browning on the bottom of the pan. So my pan's clean. I don't even have a pan to scrub when I'm done, because it all just released. And now all that browning flavor is in my gravy. It's beautiful. And then I'm going to add all my veggies. And you want to add the firmer veggies first. I have bok choy. Are you all familiar with this vegetable?
Yeah.
It's very high in calcium and iron, protein. We get our proteins from all our whole grains, but also from our leafy green vegetables. That's where large animals get their protein. They get it from leafy vegetables, grass, anything green that they're eating. So I'm going to add a little bit more broth to this. I'm creating a little bit larger of a recipe than is written on the page with 4 cups. So I'm just adding a little more broth. And this broth is going to steam all our veggies. So I cut the bok choy just like this. I'll show you. I washed it, and then I chopped it, or you can chop it and then put it in a big bowl of water and rinse it several times to get the sandy soil off of it. And I chopped the leaves kind of big because they're going to wilt up. We're going to put this firmer end in first and put the leaves in on the top so that they still resemble leafy greens when they're done cooking. Otherwise we will have the wilting of the leaves. They'll just be mushy if we add them in the bottom. So I put the firmer veggies down first. And I just brought this as an example. You could chop up cabbage. Red cabbage is one of the it has one of the highest levels of antioxidants per dollar. So if you're going to spend your money on anything in the grocery store that's going to promote your health and get the best value, red cabbage would be it. Because it's relatively low priced, but it's packed with phytochemicals and antioxidants. So there's wonderful anti-cancer properties in all of these vegetables that we see here. But this one's the cheapest one for the amount that it delivers to the body. So I always keep a red cabbage in my refrigerator.
Would you say that's the biggest bang for your buck?
The biggest bang for your buck, red cabbage. There you go. I always keep a red cabbage in my refrigerator, and I slice it up and add it to salads raw. If I'm making a stir fry, I add it to that you could just snack on it as well. It's so good for you. It's so powerful with protection for our bodies. This is where we get our protection from disease, is through fruits and vegetables. The more colorful, the better. The greener, the better. So I always keep one handy, and I'll just slice off a piece of it and chop it up and add it to a salad or to soup, and then just wrap this in plastic wrap, and this will hold up in your refrigerator for a couple weeks if you keep it wrapped nice and tight. And just keep that constant flow of those antioxidants in your diet. But on a daily basis, you should be eating things that are bright in color and green. Not just, oh, I ate a salad on Friday. I ate this healthy meal on Friday. I went to that cooking class on Friday, and I had that stir fry, so I don't need to eat vegetables for a few days. We need to be eating this way every single day. It's not something that you do part-time and get benefits from. Making changes slowly, I understand if it's new to you to cook for yourself, it's beneficial. But if you want to make a major powerful change in your life and in your health, you've got to do this full time, and you've got to do it at every meal. You have to be conscious of what you're eating, incorporating more leafy greens, incorporating more veggies. And I know you've all heard that before, but I'm a little bit more serious about it because my life was threatened with my state of health. And a few years back, when I was 40, I lost my best friend to a heart attack. She was 40 years old and died in the middle of the night of a heart attack. She had high blood pressure. She was on blood pressure medication, but she didn't really think anything of it because her doctor said, take these pills and eat a low-fat diet. So she ate chicken and vegetables, just like typically what they would suggest to improve your diet. And it didn't improve her diet enough because she's not here anymore. So when I hear someone say that they have high blood pressure or high cholesterol and they're ignoring it by eating foods that they know contribute to those diseases, you're playing with fire. It's very risky. It's not something that, oh, everybody in their 40s and 50s gets high blood pressure. Yeah, because everybody's eating the same. But if we change our diet, we don't have to suffer with these diagnoses. We don't have to suffer with these diseases. These are diseases of our lifestyle and our diet. They have nothing to do with just because you were born into the family you were born into. There can be some hereditary increase that's going to elevate your cholesterol, but I have not yet met anyone that couldn't get their cholesterol down with a nutritional intervention. By removing the cholesterol out of the diet, it works for everyone. It's not, oh, well, my whole family has high cholesterol and vegetables won't reduce my cholesterol. It will reduce. It's wonderful that it's one size fits all, basically. If we all eat a whole food plant-based diet that's low in fat, free of added oils and nuts, you will see these results happen, and it happens quick. I've watched 30-point drops easily in 1 month on total cholesterol scores, 10-pound weight losses in a month. So blood pressure comes down really quickly and easily. But it takes the consistency of doing it at every meal. It's not like, oh, I'm going to eat a protective diet or a plant-based diet once every other day. You've got to do it and produce the results. Just going to give this a stir. Smells great. If I may say so myself. Yeah, we have a nice sized group here. You guys will get good samples. Yes, still cooking, but we're getting somewhere now. We've got a lot more power with this pressure cooker. Yeah, if something ever happened to my stove and my oven, I would be fine. I could cook everything in this thing, pretty much, except I can't bake tortilla chips. Those are my favorite. Okay. Now I'm going to top this with the green leafy vegetables. And when you're making your stir fry, you want to leave you want to make it so that your peppers and your onions have a little bite to them. You don't want them all like wimpy. Yeah. And yeah, if you pick up Chinese, if you take out Chinese, those vegetables aren't steamed very much at all because they know that you're going to have that in that container for how many minutes till it gets to your house or till you pick it up and bring it home. So they're still very crunchy, and then they steam up in that container. But we're steaming them up a little bit in here, but I still want them to be alive, a little bit alive. So I'm going to grab these bowls. Just figure while I'm waiting for this, I could do these. How many people do we have here? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10.
Hey Julie,
Yes.
would it still taste good if you eliminate some of the ingredients? In other words,
Oh,
sa-
yeah.
saving money wisely.
Yes, if you wanna make this gravy
Right.
and pour this, put broccoli, just single vegetable ingredient like steamed broccoli, frozen broccoli in the bag. Just heat that up, put it with your brown rice, and put this gravy on it. It's beautiful. It's perfect. Yeah, you don't have to go through all the work. What I would recommend that you do though is for sure brown some onions and then make the gravy into that pan so that you're getting some flavor to it. And then the onion is very inexpensive and easy to keep on hand. I do teach a lot of shortcuts in eating this way and living this lifestyle is freezer vegetables, frozen broccoli, frozen green beans. So then all you have to do is have brown rice in your pantry, the vegetable broth in your pantry. Garlic and onions will stay great for many weeks in your pantry. So having those staples on hand and then your frozen vegetables, you've got a complete meal and it's delicious, very inexpensive. It's only a couple dollars to put together something like that. So
Do you make the green plastic containers?
you can freeze it. You could freeze it. Yeah, I do a lot of freezing of gravies and soups. Brown rice. Make a big pot of brown rice and then put it in your freezer. You could put it in a Ziploc bag. I usually freeze in jars. They make glass ball jars that are freezer safe. You could freeze in Tupperware.
Do you reheat the rice?
I do it on the stove top with a little water in the pan. I don't use a microwave any longer, but you could put it in the microwave, add a little bit of water to it just to rehydrate it a little. Yeah, the brown rice, that's an excellent time saver. They actually now sell very overpriced pre-cooked brown rice. You can buy at Whole Foods or Trader Joe's, and they have them in little packets, and you just heat it up. Yeah, well, if you think about it, look at all the people that were buying like frozen TV dinners. They were buying prepackaged dinners. If you traded off and you bought frozen brown rice that's pre-cooked and ready for you, and a bag of frozen broccoli, and a box of vegetable broth, and you made your own dinner out of convenience foods, you would still be spending less money than if you bought a lean cuisine or what are the, I don't even know because I don't even go to that freezer section. What are they called now? Like Stofers or like the TV dinners. They're miserable. They're so full of salt and fat. Even the lean cuisine dinners that are supposedly supposed to be better for you, they're so high in fat, and you get this little serving. I want to eat, when I eat this, I eat at least 2 cups of brown rice. This is a sample size. I eat 2 cups of brown rice and a big pile of these veggies on top. There is no like restricting. Okay, we're good. You really can't overconsume your caloric requirements in a meal eating foods like this that are free of fats. It would be really difficult to go. I always target at like about 500 calories a meal. That would leave me at about 1,500 calories a day. I don't think I eat quite 500 in the morning for my breakfast, but I'll have a snack in between, and then that'll bring it up a little bit to about 1,500 calories a day for me. Jerry's probably a little bit more than that.
You're calling me a pig, Julie?
No, Jerry starts off his day with a really big bowl of oatmeal, because if he doesn't, he'll drop under his body weight. So he actually eats 1 full cup like this of dried steel cut oats. He cooks in 2 cups of water, and it makes a big bowl. And he starts his day off with that, where I eat a lot less in the morning than him, thankfully, because I'd probably be over consuming then. Okay, so now I'm going to add my gravy to this. Hopefully I will be able to, let's see here. And now it's starting to resemble Chinese takeout with this brown gravy. Make the gravy in with the vegetables. You can, I do it that way myself. I brown the onions and the mushrooms, and then I add the broth, and then I add the cornstarch, and I thicken the gravy, and then I add my vegetables and steam them at home. But because we were limited with smaller pots, I did it in this order. A lot of times people don't have large cookware, like that big pot I started with, and they're making a large stir fry for their whole family. Or if you live alone and you're making this, you can eat this for several days. You could even freeze this with the rice separate, and then you have these little TV dinners you made yourself. A lot of people have very small cookware because they haven't been cooking for a long time. So I want them to be able to steam up and then cook the gravy, because usually they don't have a big pot. Okay, so we'll start serving this up. Let's see here, napkins. This is the hot sauce. I want to warn you, it's hot. I don't want anyone turning bright red and passing out on me. Or maybe it'll wake you up. Okay, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Could you make a few more of these? 4 more rice.
Jerry, were you always slim like where you are? Or?
Well, kinda. I lost another 20 pounds by going on a protective diet. So I was slim, athletic, but still a little bit chubby on the edges.
He was actually on a bike tour across the country when I met him.
Wow.
And he was eating a standard American diet. He had ridden 4,600 miles across the country. So he was in great physical shape, but he had high cholesterol, and he had a little bit of body fat on him because he was living on ice cream and, you know, junk.
Fish, salmon patties,
Yeah, he ate a lot of salmon. It's high in
cheese
fat.
pizza.
Lots of pizza. Now he hasn't had any of that for many years. He's still alive. He's more alive than ever. Oh, take a sample. Take a sample. You must. Let's see here. Please.
You still biking, Gary?
Yeah, when I get a chance. We're very busy with the Protective Diet, with the website, so working. But when I get an opportunity, like I took just the other day, about a week ago, or maybe less than a week ago, I went for a ride. It's a lot of fun.
Where'd you go? Did you work?
Just a day ride, yeah, over to New York. Yep. I like to ride to DeKalb from Glendale Heights to 70. Well, it's actually a 60-mile ride one way. But
If you'd like to come up
that
and take a
consumes a lot
sample,
of the
please
day,
do.
so I don't do that very often, but it's a fun ride. Do you
Don't
do
be
much
shy.
physical activity?
Golf is good. I think it really helps.
Golf and pickleball? Have you started working
Please
out,
come up.
Justina?
Sure.
No,
You're
it's because,
welcome.
no, 'cause you're losing weight, so and you don't have to work out. That's the
I
whole
want
point
to
of the
see what
protective
kind
diet.
of massages.
Most of our
Oh, I
students.
made it.
Oh, you made it?
Yeah, I made it with arbol chilies,
Uh-huh.
very hot,
Uh-huh.
and apple cider vinegar,
Uh-huh.
little water, garlic, and a little salt.
Oh.
That's it. Very
Mix it.
simple.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the blender.
Blender.
Mhm.
Blend it and then
Yeah.
cook it. Oh,
Yes.
okay.
Give it a try. You like
Yeah,
spicy
that's-
food?
Yeah, I like spicy
Then
food.
you'll probably like it.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
That's gonna burn
For the
your
hot
head
sauce?
Yeah.
All
So
right,
a cup
good,
of
good,
just
good.
chilies. And then I put, let's see, I have the recipe on protectivediet.com, but that you can get it off of there. But I'm trying to think. Have a sample. We'll have
from a
enough.
phone call, and I'm like,
Good.
oh my gosh.
Yeah, there's like a teaspoon of sea salt. Apple cider vinegar is a quarter cup to a cup of the arbol chilies and half a
Yeah.
cup of water.
Kind of spicy?
It's called Healthy Hottie Sauce. If you go to Protective Diet and just put it in the search box, you'll find it. It's a free recipe on there. Alright. Oh, you got a fork?
I've got a fork.
All right, I'll put this one in the next one.
Been smelling it the entire time I've been working,
Oh, yeah.
Killing you.
and I'm listening.
I'm
in,
so
and
glad
I'm like,
you're
oh,
here
what is she
to
doing?
try
What is she
it.
doing? I have this stinking corporate presentation due to them by the end of the day.
All right, did I give
Oh,
you
that's
all the good
perfect.
stuff?
Thank you
Just
so
like me.
much. I like hot sauce.
Oh, okay.
For the hot sauce, I would say a cup of the chilies,
All right, well, that's not
about a quarter cup of the vinegar, apple cider vinegar.
Or you
Yeah,
like
half a
spicy
cup
food?
of water, quarter cup.
Okay, well, there you go. It's extremely spicy.
And then if you wanted more vinegar, you could put a third if you like. And then about a teaspoon, sorry dear.
I'm
glad you have a
guide.
Let me help you.
I'm gonna split it with Amy. So if my greeter
Split it. There's more. There's plenty. There's plenty.
I
And
always
a
make her
teaspoon of
work.
salt.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
For Amy.
The hot sauce was good.
This was for
Did you
Amy.
like it? It's
Yeah,
hot,
I
right?
I can go get this.
That's good.
Here you go. What were you waiting for?
I was in the restroom.
Yes.
Everyone's quiet, so that's a good sign.
Really spicy. Really good spice.
You like the hot sauce?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's spicy.
You were you here for the loaded or the tostadas?
Yeah, you were here for that.
Yeah, I was there.
Yes, we had quite the tostada party.
Oh, thank you so much.
You're
I get so
welcome.
spoiled.
All right, so are we signing off, Jerry? Thanks for tuning in for another Protective Diet Nutritional Intervention cooking class with Humana. Take care and best of health to you. Jerry, I think we're going to actually eat some this time.
Yay!